What are we doing? Hey guys, you remember me from such films as... No, I was joking. Okay, just came in from the shop. We got the stainless steel rock sliders welded up. I think they're 304 stainless, something like that. Stainless is still new to us with all the TIG welding and such. So yeah, those look good. They serve the purpose we needed. They follow the chassis line. They're nice and flat across the bottom, so that's going to work wonderful. They're not aluminum, so they're not going to get hooked on the rock. They're stainless, so they help slide over, which is nice. So from here, we need to mount the ESC, shorten the motor wires, put a sensor wire into it, and then we need to still cut the plates there to mount inside these windows on the front chassis to hold this motor plate from rocking back and forth, and also to tie in the bottom of the front body mounts. We're gonna bolt through there too. So pretty much a couple things left to do. Front bumper is going to be tomorrow. I've got the plates made up. I just actually need to work with the design once I get the body and everything on. So today we're going to throw the electronics into it and pretty much get it into a running status, get the drive shaft figured out here and such, and go from there. So let's get cracking. Okay, so we got the front plates whipped up. That's going to hold the motor in place from rocking back and forth. Plus it gave us another spot down here on the bottom to put our front upper body post into, so we could use the one hole through the chassis and the other one landed in the window. It works simple. Both sides look good, nice and clean. Yeah, very happy. I used a very thin sheet of aluminum, 0.040 aluminum sheet for that. We did cut it in a plastic Lexan template, but that 0.040 Lexan, or it might be a little bit thicker, it was actually heavier when I threw it on the scale. So we just went with the aluminum. And plus, I don't want to use, like I said earlier, you guys, I don't want to use plastic in this. So aluminum's the way to go on that. So now we need to pretty much build the front bumper, build the rear bumper, and then build a chassis support for these rear frame rails. They did supply this one aluminum tube that goes across to hold it. We did raise it up so we can clear the links. We are just going to flip these links over. We're going to flip these links over. As you can see, they're pointing in the up direction, and under full squat with the crossbar in the bottom hole, it was hitting the link. So I do want to move that back down so I can pull the chassis back together on the bottom side, because right now, if you look at it, it is kind of twisted a little bit like that because we are mounting at the top, which we shouldn't be doing. We know that, but we just finished pulling out the body from the paint. We're going with a anodized aluminum and anodized purple look on it, so we got that set up. I'm just setting up to, with X-Acto to go through and cut out all the clear plastic on the outside of the body, so I can then sand that with some 600 grit, as you know we do, and then we can do that in the matte black trims on the window. We're going to slap the body together. We're going to get that guy mounted up there, and then we're going to program the radio, get everything set up, and we'll do a little bit of running, kind of finish it off. Then we can get it back to the client. Sean's been waiting for it for a while. Luckily up here, there's nowhere to go in the winter time, so I knew I had all winter long. So sorry, Sean, but she'll be done for you this week. And we actually have another build coming up from Sean. You guys will be very interested in. That's going to be a very cool one, very fun one. Plus, it's a hard body too, and you know we love the hard bodies over the Lexan, but we can still do the Lexan all day long. So let's quit yakking about this thing, and I'm going to get through this body. We'll jump back in a few seconds once I'm done doing the trim on the body, and then we're going to go do it in a matte clear, so we get rid of the shine on there and it's going to look nice. We've already got some decals laid up on the back, so we'll go through that. We'll do our twist on that. We'll show you that. We'll get this guy, like, he's just got the bolt sitting in there, no nuts and such like that. Everything else is pretty much dialed in. If you guys go back, check out the video, you can see everything that we've done. It's pretty basic, besides we did have to flip and mirror the transmission here and the motor and get this guy sitting real nice and low just so we clear this pumpkin on the portals. So yeah, it's pretty cool. We do want to get some 80mm shocks for it to get her sitting down just a little bit lower. Sean did just buy these 90 mils, and shipping in Canada is so expensive. It's just not worth buying them right now for a little bit more droop out of her. So he's going to run it like this. I have been watching a lot of other YouTube channels, and like I love my trucks low, but I have seen other builds where, you know, their center of gravity is still higher than this right here, so it's not bad. Like I still can't even put my hand sideways underneath it, but just our style, I want this thing sitting right down low and performing great. So I might run a limiting strap so it can't come up to its full droop in case the weight wants to full back. Just little things like that. We'll get into it. We'll do a tuning video right before we get it out to Sean. So yeah, let's get this guy together. Well, I'm sure you guys can see the plan has changed on the paint job and the body. We're going with the silver purple. If you take a look at these pictures here, you will see why we changed it. The mold on the bed was atrocious. As soon as we painted it, the silver, it looked really bad. I'm sure if it was in a color or something, it would have been fine, but when we did it with the silver and peeled it off, it looked like somebody painted with a brush. So fought with myself a little bit on it, and we ended up sanding it down on the outside, painting it this nice light gray TS color. Lots of 600 grit sanding to get that to bite good, and it's in there solid. As you guys just watched, I was scrubbing on with eraser to do all my body lines. So now we're just going to add some black and purple decaling to the body to try to offset some of the color, maybe some chrome decals and stuff, play with that. Besides that, body's done. The bumper sits really nice on the front. Bumper sitting really nice in there. We do got to put the winch in still. I got the winch and the spool all wound up. I do need to make a fair lead in the front of the bumper. I got to weld something up tomorrow for that, and then that can be installed. That will be done. And yeah, set up the receiver. And luckily we got some good weather, so we can actually get this guy out on a little bit of rocks, and we can do a little bit of testing too, and a tiny little bit of footage for you guys before we send it off to its owner, and then we start on the next build for him. So yeah, let's get at it, get it wrapped up. Okay, so now that we got most of the body where we're happy with, now that we had to paint it twice, all that fun stuff, a little bit of sanding, fun stuff, but gladly we were able to save that. So we're into the final steps of this thing now. We got to put our receiver in, finish mounting up our Shift RC little servo. We put the hook on there, put the spool on there. I forgot that I have to mount this through a little fair lead in the front to hold it, so we have to clip that off and redo that. We'll get in there in a few minutes. Yeah, basically to mount that into it, but right now we're going to throw the receiver, and we're going to go with a Spectrum SR515 5-channel receiver and a Spectrum Rugged DX5 Rugged radio in orange. It's the same radio that I run. You guys probably don't see my radio too often, as we do use it to hold the cameras when we're out on the trail, clip a GoPro onto it and such. They're nice little units. Comes with some fancy instructions and a do and a don't, and things that smell like sewage. And yeah, nice little radio. It's 5-channel. It is waterproof, tough, bash proof. It's great though, because we do set them down on the rocks and they do take off sliding. These guys have a rubber grip all the way around, so they actually won't slide away from you on the rocks like a cheap plastic one or your expensive DX6R like I've seen guys do, and they get broken. So it has a nice little screen on the back. It is smaller than the previous models, and it is not backlit like some of the other previous models, but they were going for more of a rugged, tough off-road, so the less options you're going to have like that, the more reliable the radio is going to be. It does have this version 2 of the touch slider on the back. Let me grab my radio real quick, show you we're talking about version 2. Okay, so you can see version 1 of my radio. This back button, the clear button, and this little box of your up, down, and your click for your OK, your scroll wheel, it's actually like a touch sensor. These ones are a little bit really finicky. These ones were not easy to get going and da-da-da-da. I've gotten used to using the radio. I absolutely hated it at first. You just spend some time with them, you learn how to use them, you get used to using it, and then it's fine. So version 2, they've just changed it, so it's more of just like a screen instead of having these individual little grooves for your finger to go into, and it is a lot less sensitive, so it's not jumping around as such like this guy was. So yeah, nice little radio, 5-channel. It's got this little toolbox on the back, and you can actually click in a T-wrench. See if I can find one here in half a second. So yeah, you can use this to clip in a wheel wrench in the back. And there's another little port right here. That is for doing your firmware update. And if you have an older radio like mine, you can actually update the firmware on these so they will talk to the new Spectrum Firma ESCs. So if you're buying like an RTR, like an Axial SCX6, such like that, you can actually go into the menu on your radio and do all your ESC programming functions live. So you could be like, well, let's see what that does, drive it. No, I didn't like that, go back, drive it right from the radio out on the trail. Game changer right then and there. You don't have to plug in a programming card or nothing. Do it right from your radio. So check out the Spectrum, smart technology, guys. Great products. We're going to shut up about this and put it in the truck. Done.
Done. Bye.
Okay, well that pretty much brings us to the end of this build for now. We got the test and tune lined up tomorrow morning. It's getting kind of late. Quick review on the build so far. As you guys remember, the body was supposed to be silver purple. We ended up hating the mold on it, so we ended up going with this primer gray look. These old Chevys always look good. We always see them tooting around our town in primer gray, so I kind of went with that look. Looks great. We did the panel lining on it. Very happy with that. We're still working out some decal designs that we want to throw onto it. It's always fun, right? Finding that stuff and getting that worked out. So anyway, TGH Sherpa chassis sitting on the Vanquish portal axles with the offset pumpkin in the front. So that led to the challenge of getting the TGH forward mount motor, whatever, unit reversed and flipped over. Easy to reverse and flip, but then you run into the problem with nowhere to put the lower mount for the engine or the motor bracket. So we ended up making the plates that now support that mount fully, and also our body posts. So we got that done. The motor is sitting really nice and low in the chassis with our ESC on a custom motor plate behind. We get everything packed in there really nice and tight. The battery is going to reside on this side. We got the cable running back here, Velcro, and a nice little 1300 Tagu or Tattoo battery we're going to throw on there. Up front, we've got the Reefs 500 raw. I believe that's the ASD. That is ASD servo. Sorry, ASD servo up front, 500 Reefs raw servo. Really nice unit with the Shift RC servo winch beside it. We did a custom front bumper, custom rock sliders on the side that we first bought a TIG welder, learned how to TIG weld, and then this is our first project. So more to come on that as we get better down the road. And we also found out we need to get a slightly better TIG welder. The one we got is entry level. So up front here, we ran the servo in kind of the middle location. There's kind of 3 locations in the front, so we just ran the servo into the middle with a line through the front. We ran a longer bolt here from one of the bumper bolts and a link end with one of the kind of the whatever that is, the drop down in it. What do you want to call that? Just
drop down.
And then, yeah, so we got the hook out the front underneath here. We are going to get a slightly bigger hook so we can actually hook it on the bumper or hook it onto one of our crossbars back here just to get it out of the way until we need it. We did leave the middle of the front bumper open so we can get in there, grab, pull it out. I was going to try to close it off, but I decided to leave it open. It is double plated in the center and single on the side with the front plate here, so it is really rigid. It's going to take a good beating. I did weld the whole front edge so he can go bashing into rocks and such, and it's not going to just mush up. Once you weld it, it becomes harder, so a lot stronger. And like you just seen in the video, we put it all together with a DX5 rugged radio from Spectrum with a SR 515 5-channel receiver. It was better. So the truck is running very smooth, very nice and quiet, the way we like it. It's got the Mamba Max or Mamba X ESC in there. We got that sitting there really nice and tight. I'm very happy with how that turned out, tucked in by the motor. Great units, we love those. We try to use those in all our builds. It is a 2850, and they don't have a lot of reduction in these TGH transmissions, so she's a little bit hot, so we did dial in some Expo on the radio, but it's going to be a little bit spicy on the trails, so nothing wrong with that. Dialing the Expo in is giving it a little bit of a throttle curve, so it's a little bit more mushy, easier to drive. We put 46% in, I think, both ways, so it's quite a bit, and it's tamed her down a lot. But yeah, otherwise it'll be great. With this ESC, we can control the drag brake from one of the option channels. So we have this channel C set up to do the drag brake on the truck, so that way we can control it for the different type of driving terrain. If you want to do donuts or rip around, turn off the drag brake, or you can modulate it for percentage in between too, so you can have a little bit of slide down a hill depending on kind of the terrain you're on, which is a very nice feature. And then of course the other option is the winch we have on here. Very nice unit. It works. So yeah, very sweet unit. We're not running a BSC. The BEC in here is strong enough to support both these servos. There's nothing crazy going on there. Relatively small tires on the 1.9, so we're not worried about that. If you start throwing a light kit and such like that down the road, we'll probably power that by BEC, but as a core, the truck will run fine the way it is. Another good thing about these Castle ESCs. Yeah, Castle. Yeah, so we went with a really low stance. I know the rear on these trucks should be sitting higher, kind of in around that angle, but we want our center of gravity low. The truck looks good too, sitting low. It is kind of tough with these bodies with the drop bed and the front to get them actually sitting low. So with this chassis, it actually worked out really good. We do need to trim the front of the body right there. It is holding up the front of the body here, pushing down the middle and throwing off my body lines here. So just a little bit of work to get everything lined up. Drop that down, she'll drop in proper, get that done. It's enough for now. We'll see you guys in a few minutes out on the trail. We'll give this guy his first shakedown, and we'll get it back to its owner. See you guys on the next one. What's up, guys? Keith here, Stony Mountain. We got the TJ Sherpa. Sean's up there. I got the remote. We're going to take it for its initial test hit. Sorry, my GoPro's mounted on the bottom of the controller, so this weird angle going on. There, is that better? Anyhow, we're going to shake down the TJ Sherpa we did in that sweet Chevy step-side classic looking 80 Chevy on there. As you can see, guys, it is still very much spring here. Some may call this winter where you guys live, but this is spring for us. It's going to be sloppy, mucky, crappy here for a couple of weeks, but as soon as that clears up, we can get some better footage with this guy. Today we're just giving the shakedown, make sure it doesn't blow up or catch fire. Right? Yeah. So this guy's running the 2850 kV Castle, so I put 46% Expo into the remote. Kind of back down the way she's so jerky-herky. So far, I like it how it feels. do you think? I like it. So yeah, I would say that's definitely like on the weapons grade level of combat vehicles. So watch out. Sweet tire tuck. Woohoo! I don't know, I think that sums it up pretty good. It's all pretty gravelly over there and stuff. We got a little patch of rock right here, 10 feet long. We drove a long way to get here, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. Yeah, anyway, until spring, you guys, we're not gonna be able to get much trailing footage out here. It's gonna be more just mud, swamp, bog, and crap like that. We will come back to this truck once we figure out the decal design. Sean's working on his own company logos. We're going to get those on the truck and such like that. So we'll come back to this truck. Obviously, you can see that it worked. The setup on it is killer. Everything that we assumed was going to worked. So we're very happy with that. That was some pretty nice lines there. Truck didn't slip, slide. It did exactly what I told it to do the entire time. To me, that's a win. So we'll see you guys back here with this truck at a later date. Cheers.